Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I look at the Pro Set Platinum and Power sets of 1991, 92, and 93. Pro Set created Platinum as an answer to the big question of premium cards. So basically by 1991, Upper Deck and Action Pact had been showing everybody that you really got to start making premium cards. And pretty much everybody answered the bell in 1991 in doing so. Some cards like Score were very successful with Pinnacle. Then in the case of Fleer, they were very unsuccessful in Ultra. Pro Set also ran into a similar situation to Fleer in that Pro Set was an incredibly innovative company. And so the idea of, okay, well, what are they going to do for a premium card? It was very tantalizing, but the step that they made, like with Fleer, was very much a half step. They really hadn't figured out what a premium card would need to be. It's kind of weird in a way because of just how innovative their main Pro Set brand was, but at the same time, that was the way that they thought. And so stepping away into what we would ultimately know to be premium brands, it really wasn't natural to them. The Platinum cards were very much a product of that thought process. It's weird to look at these cards and realize that these were supposed to be going head to head with Upper Deck and with Pinnacle. But this was a learning process that Pro Set was going to need to go through. So the Platinum cards that they released were a full bleed card, which was what Pro Set was doing, but this was about as minimalist as you could possibly get. I mean, there was no name, there was no team, there was no position. All there was a Pro Set Platinum logo. And they weren't the only company to do this. Proline in the exact same year did the exact same thing. They only had the Proline logo on it, but Proline was basically marketing clothing. And Pro Set was actually making player cards, so it looked really different. And a couple of companies had already done something very similar where they got rid of all of the text off of the front and they had just a picture. But these were like send-away cards. Nobody had sat down and done an actual set this way. Only a company like Pro Set would dare to do so. But usually when you do one of these send-away sets, the cards look like they're unfinished or like they're the back of a card. They don't look like they're supposed to be the presentation card. In this case, impressively, they do. These actually do look like they're supposed to be the front of a card, and it is a really impressive thing that Pro Set pulled off. The cards are not glossy, there's nothing special about the cardstock, so these cards are basically the same as a Pro Set card, just more minimalist, except they really emphasized the images on these cards. Pro Set knew to do this, they knew how to do it. And so these cards are very heavy in color, they're very image forward, and for a lot of these cards, the images actually really do carry well. I mean, all of the images in this card set look good, but some of the cards, they actually have great player images right on the front of the cards, so they do read really well. And on the card back, they also went very minimalist where they did a simple box down at the bottom with basic information on it, and then they had a big area for a huge portrait shot along the top 2/3 to 3/4 of the card, which gives these images that are, in many cases, fabulous images. I mean, really great use of that landscape. And that's what is really interesting about this set is that the cards are so minimalist that they're boring, that you're never going to notice these cards. But when you stop and you sit down and you really look at the cards, you find that a lot of these cards they're absolutely fantastic. And some of the cards, they even went so far as to do black and white backgrounds behind the player. So the player is kind of like a cutout in color with everything else in black and white, making the cards stand out even more. And they did this with a couple of cards on the front, and they did it in some of the cases on the card back as well, which just, it further heightened it. Now, I am kind of intrigued by what the entire set would have looked like if they had done this for the whole set. I think it would have been really amazing, but it also might have been a little bit too much. But regardless, they didn't do this except for in a couple of cases. They did do 2 series, but they also did subsets, which is really kind of interesting because there's nothing on the cards to really make a subset work. But on the card back, right between the team name and the text is Platinum Performer. But they also did Platinum Performance. So for a couple of players, they actually have a second card in the first set where they talk about a game or a season that was really impressive for these players. So that actually is a subset. And then for their rookies, they did Platinum Prospects. So they actually do have subsets in here. And they also have a couple of coach cards. And the coach cards are, like in Series 2, they're basically tributes to Don Shula and to Joe Gibbs. So the set does have some interesting things to discover, but you got to get in there and try to find all the little things that they did. And Pro Set was just, it was amazing how much stock they created, how many of these things they printed out. So these cards never had much of a value, in part because there was nothing really intriguing about them, but also because there's so many of them that it's really easy to get your hands on them. So they don't really feel like a premium brand. But then again, 1991 Fleer Ultra doesn't either. So it's a kind of a sneaky, interesting set that kind of sits out there that everybody overlooks because it's easy to forget that they're there. They did also do one insert set, and this is just a 10-card insert set. It was released in the Series 2 packs, and this is their Platinum Collectibles cards. So all the cards are PC 1 through 10, and they come in 3 different themes. So the first theme is Platinum Profiles. This is 3 players who are, there's something distinctive about whether it's Art Monk's career, or in the case of Kenny Walker, he was the first fully deaf football player in the league. So it's kind of a neat thing that they did with these cards. And then they had 2 photo cards, and these were, so in the main set they like to do photo contest cards for the NFL photo contest. And so here were a couple of really interesting shots that they used just on these cards. And then they finished the setup with Game Breakers. And these were done also with the black and white background, but here they really heightened it so that the colors of the jerseys come through. The weight of the card back is, I think that they made it more of a darker gray tone for the whole thing, so the players stand out, and they worked really hard to choose great images. So these Game Breaker cards are fantastic cards. If you haven't found these cards, you got it. They're amazing. And they're dirt cheap because this set is so overproduced. And it's a shame to look at these, just at these Game Breakers, and realize that the full potential that they had of being exciting chase cards never materialized. And they also had giveaways for a platinum card. So you could send it away. If you got one of the redemption cards, you could send it in and get back a metal card of either Paul Brown or Emmett Smith, and it actually had some platinum in it. These are easy cards to tell that they're these platinum cards because they're actually metal. So in 1991, Pro Set had basically run out of luck. It used up all its goodwill, and it had to earn itself. And it was going to be a long haul. So for the main set, that's a whole mess with basically going under new ownership. And then with Platinum was basically, it was lost. There was nothing they could do with Platinum because nobody cared. Renaming Platinum was the only way that they could go, and so for 1992 they went with Pro Set Power. That was the name for their premium brand, and these cards actually started to earn that stripe. First off, they went with better cardstock with an actual glossy sheen over it, and they also for the logo upgraded it to have a kind of a stone element and then having some gold foil, so it almost had a little bit of upper deck in it, which was a nice addition that they made. When you look at the logo, it looks like it's supposed to be a serious card. And then the card itself was great because they had a high color shot of the player, and then the whole background was kind of washed out. It was lightened up so that the player just pops right out. And then they actually had the player name down at the bottom in a team color, which was a really helpful element. And it also meant that when you put it into binders, you can see the whole team. It actually looks right. So it looks good on an individual basis, and it looks good with the team. And on the card back, they used pretty much the same card back design, but here they actually put design into it, which made it look fantastic. I don't happen to think that the shots are as good on the card back, but still the design looks a lot better, and so this looks like it's supposed to be a real card, like it's taken seriously. So the upgrade to 1992 was huge. They also had rookies that were, again, on the card front, there's nothing distinctive about the rookies, but on the card back, they completely redesigned the model so that here they look like they're supposed to be special rookie cards, and that's a big help to these cards. I think it would have been better to put something denoting rookie on the card front. That would have really helped these rookie cards look special, but they did make a pretty good improvement, and it was 92, so we really don't care about the rookie cards in this set, but it still would have been nice. Now, they did do an insert set again, and in this case, the insert set is combos. And this is where they have 2 players on the card, and these horizontal cards are just fantastic because the 2 players really take up the space well, and they come through really well with the bleached out card back. They also used holofoil, silver holofoil on these cards, which helped out a lot. So the cards, these are cards that really do look, they almost look like they deserve to be in a Pinnacle pack or an Ultra pack. These cards look great. They look a lot better than Pro Set is supposed to be able to create. I love the marble on the card back. They're fantastic cards. They also did a promo card in their regular Pro Set packs. So on the card front, it looks like the Emmett Smith power card. On the card back, it's a send away. And what you could do is to send away and get a complete set of 10 Emmett Smith cards. Or you could also get a complete uncut sheet of the 10 cards that's autographed by Emmett Smith. So both of those options were available. In the 10 card set of Emmett Smith, these cards look really good. It's actually interesting because it's kind of like a combination of all 3 years. It's pretty much the same card stock as the 91 Platinum. It's the same card stock as the 91 Platinum. It's the same washed out background as the 92 set, and then it has almost a look like a 93 card design, not like the actual power cards from 93, but it looked almost kind of like it was the same thought process as was going into the 93 set. And again, they used the silver holofoil, which was a nice little element, so again, it looks really kind of exotic. So those were neat cards. Now, by the time that 93 came around, Pro Set was basically a whole new company, and it really shows in these cards. It starts off with promo cards that are really intriguing because in the case of these promo cards, they did kind of an artistic trick to the background behind the player. And they had these really rich colors that would pop out and create a really vibrant card. Now, I have to say, I don't think that this would have worked for the set. I think that what they went with the set works better for a full 200 card set. But boy, I wish that they'd done this for an insert set. This would have been a great insert set, or even a parallel set would have worked really well with this trick. But also, you got to have the right images to work with it. So I wish that they'd done an insert set with it, but the promo set kind of works as an insert set. So for the main card sets, what they did was, again, they went with a full bleed card, but here they played a trick with the way that they washed out the card back. So they have what's designed, it's kind of like there are frames inside of the card, and the different tones that they have make a really interesting card back. Some of these images are really vibrant compared to 92, some of them not quite as vibrant. The 92 shots were pretty much all great. 93, these are also really good shots. So again, they're continuing with that, but they're designing as a whole card design. They also have the Pro Set Power logo in a silver holofoil, and that's pretty significant because they would also do a parallel with gold holofoil. So it's a neat thing that they did in terms of that too, because now you had a whole chase set. There was a parallel of the base set, and it was, you know, one per pack, so these were very common, and so that made the card set a lot more fun to collect. The card backs are, they're not as well designed as 92, but they're a lot more vibrant. The color band along the top with the two team colors is a lot of fun with the set, so it makes the card back kind of like a party in a way. And I don't like the card back as much, and at the same time I kind of like it a little bit more. So it's a really interesting set they came up with. Also, as a 200 card set, they wanted to play a trick where they used the jersey number as the card number wherever they possibly could. So Thurman Thomas could be card number 34, Jerry Rice could be card number 80, Steve Young could be card number 8. But they also, because they had 101 through 200, they could repeat that. So Steve Young could be either 8 or 108. And so that meant that now Chris Carter could actually have his card as a card number 80 or 180, but he could actually have that because Jerry Rice wasn't hogging card number 80. So it's a cool thing that they did in this set. They also did a couple of Emmett Smith holograms, and these are basically what an Emmett Smith power card would look like as a hologram. It's not a deep hologram, it's basically just like a two plane, but they also had that in there. And then they had, for their insert sets, the first insert set they had was all power defense. And this card really doesn't look like a Pro Set card at all. I mean, this is an amazing card. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like a brown smoke or if it's just supposed to be that backdrop that they put behind you when they do school photos. But whatever it is, it looks great with a great shot of the player, and the silver holofoil is very strong. The card back is actually kind of fun. It's a really interesting approach they did to the card back. And then in the main set, they did not do rookies. So they reserved the rookies for insert cards. And with these insert cards, the cards look a lot more like the 92 set. This is a full bleed card. It's a full color shot of the player with a full black and white background behind him. And then they have some big boxes with holo silver foil. And the cards themselves, they really look like great rookie cards. They look like they're supposed to be the great rookie card for these players. And they look great. You got the players in all of their practice uniforms, so you see them in their new uniforms, but you don't have to wait until they're actually in game shots. The card back, I like the black marble, the whole write-up. It looks really good. And then these cards also come with the gold holofoil, as did the all power defense. So there's also that level of collectability. Now, they also have 2 cards at the end for AFC and NFC. So this is 28 rookies, and then they have 2 cards at the end so that you can see the draft picks for the AFC teams and the draft picks for the NFC teams. It's just 1 draft pick for each team. But understand, these are not checklists, because they don't have every single team represented by these rookie cards in the 28 cards, which is interesting since they have 28 cards. But like in the case of Denver, they drafted Glenn Milburn, but he doesn't actually have a card in this set. But another really significant note to make about this is that every single card is PDP and then 2 digits. And you would think that cards number 1 through 9 would be 01 through 09, but they actually didn't do that. They ended up inverting the numbers. So card number 1, which is Lincoln Kennedy, is not 01, but 10. And then likewise, Thomas Smith is not card number 02, it's card number 20. But there's also already a card number 10 and a card number 20, and then obviously card number 30, because that's the NFC card. So if you go through and you find a card number 10 or 20, but you're looking at either a Falcon or you're looking at Buffalo Bill, understand that's actually card number 1 and card number 2. And then likewise, card number 80 is obviously card number 8, because it's only a 30 card set. So just keep in mind, that is an uncorrected error that all those cards have. It can be kind of confusing until you get the hang of it, but if you are collecting these cards, you will notice that. And then they did another insert set called Power Moves. And this is for players who change teams, either because they signed with a new team or they got traded to a new team. And all of these shots are players in their practice uniforms, so you can see what they look like now with the new helmets. And the cards look really good because, again, they're really deep, rich colors. But here the outside of the card is, the background is in the full color, and then they have an inset box that's actually offset at the same time that then has the washed out background. So you have the two, and the way that all of the colors, the richness of all the colors, make these cards look really impressive. Obviously these cards also come with the gold holofoil. And then the last insert set that they did was their power combos. And in this case, it's a horizontal card. I don't like the card design. I think they played around a little bit too much to try to, I don't know what they were doing with it. But these cards have a little strip of silver holofoil that also comes with the gold holofoil version. But there's also another version of this, which is a prismatic card. The whole surface has prism facets on it. Not really prism facets, but they have facets, and it is called the prism card. So there is a third version of all of these cards. And I'll be getting back to the set in a minute. But ProSet also decided to do a later release of Power called Power Update. And this isn't a set. This is actually two sets. What they wanted to do was they wanted to take the rookies and expand it out, and they wanted to take the power moves and expand it out. So now they had 60 cards and 50 cards of these sets. So there's 110 cards of two distinct sets. One's rookies and one is relocated players. And the way that they designed the cards is they did a border around the outside that has kind of one of those 1950s, 60s fake rock looks that you see in malls or you see in banks. And they did color versions of this. So for all the players who moved, the Power Moves cards, they have kind of a rose hue around the outside. And then for all the Power Prospects cards, the rookie cards, they did kind of a light green color for the border. Now with all of these cards, unlike the practice shots in the previous set, in this case you actually get to see them in action shots. So that's a big help with these sets. But they also did an Impact Rookies set, which was a much smaller set. It's just 15 cards. And this is also rookies, but it's more focused. And these are a blue hue. And this is a very rare insert card for this set. So you're also going to see those as well, again with the gold holofoil. But they did one other insert set, which was of distinction, which is the Power Combos. And these cards are 10 cards, just like the 10 cards from the main set. But it's a whole different set of combinations. And the cards are done in the same three ways. So you have the silver holofoil, you have the gold holofoil, and you have the prism cards. But The way that you can tell the difference is that for the update cards, they have PC before the number, whereas the main cards just have the number. So do keep in mind that that's a whole nother set of 10 cards. And that basically rounds out the Pro Set Power cards. So for 1994, Pro Set ceased to exist, but before they did make a couple of promo cards, so you can get kind of a feel for where Power was going. And it's weird because the Power cards look more like they would be a 95 release than a 94 release. I'm not sorry to see that they didn't make these cards, but I am curious what the actual set would have ended up looking like. So that is basically Pro Set Platinum, Pro Set Power. This is what Pro Set made for its premium cards. And it's interesting to see the journey, to see the very humble start, and to see the absolute chaos that it ended it with, which is really kind of the right way for Pro Set to end. It's a lot of fun what they got around to. It's interesting to see the platinum cards that everybody overlooks. It's really nice to see the power cards because they look fantastic. And it's a shame to see that the company was finally starting to figure out how to make cards right when it ceased to exist. Man, I miss this company. So that, again, that's a look at these cards. I hope that you learned something in this. Let me know in the comments below about your takes on these, because there's a lot of takes that I would assume that the people would have about whether they think I'm overblowing the first set, the discoveries of the power sets, etc. So again, let me know below. Check out my other videos if you haven't done so. Definitely subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.